World Wide Web, I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality that's here. And hey, how about a break for a fun little kaiju movie? It's just that I've reviewed a lot of Godzilla movies in the past and really want to tackle another all of a sudden. What with the giant city stomping and ridiculous science fiction explanations for what's going on, you can always count on a good old-fashioned kaiju flick to cheer you up. Which could be just what you need when you plan to do a month-long series of reviews based on the I Spit on Your Grave series, only to realize very quickly why that is not a good idea. Either way, we're looking at Godzilla vs. Megaguirus today. The second Millennium-era Godzilla flick, following up Godzilla 2000 from 1999. In this timeline, the humans waste no time fucking around and hop right to the idea of killing Godzilla by firing a black hole at him from space. However, things don't go as planned. Though with that kind of a plan, it's sort of a given. Let's fire a big black hole straight at the Earth! What's the worst that could happen? Yeah, well, let's take a look at Godzilla vs. Megaguirus and find out. We open up to a little refresher on exactly who in the fuck this Godzilla guy is for the three of you out there who aren't sure. A terrifying monster who has been terrorizing Japan for decades, and taking old footage of the original movie only to superimpose a more modern Godzilla into it like a 200-foot tall Forrest Gump. This also explains that after the original attack in '54, Godzilla returned in 1966, specifically to attack the nuclear power plant in Tokai Village. So this doesn't exactly follow Godzilla 2000 narratively. Oh well, from this they figured the monster is attracted to nuclear power, and so they should probably cut back on that, entirely. Gonna go 100% green energy, but without nuclear power. So I guess they're fending off both Godzilla and classic Gamera with this plan.
But all these alternatives combined could not replace nuclear energy. And so,
the scientists came up with a brilliant plan to solve the nation's energy needs by inventing a battery with a miniature universe inside of it. Or rather, Japan puts tons of research into nuclear-free green energy that could power the whole nation, and there was a breakthrough.
The plasma-powered energy system.
in the months that followed, plasma-derived power became the standard energy source.
Plasma energy! That comes from plasma! The kind you get from nuclear fusion that... Not nuclear, though. It's plasma! You know, fuck, for all I know, it's an energy drink. Despite all these precautions, though, before long, Godzilla attacked Nakanoshima in Osaka. However, the defense forces here ready to take on a kaiju on foot, while singing proudly and rolling sideways like madmen. Along with them is the important character, Kiriko Tsujimori, played by Misato Tanaka. Now it's time to stop Godzilla once and for all! Or just piss him off. Great plan. Godzilla is in the city. We assume he is heading straight for the TV tower, so we're gonna have 3 guys with RPGs shoot at him from down the street. If this attack fails, we move on to Operation Harsh Language. Unsurprisingly, Anklebiter Squad doesn't last much longer than this, and it's down to Tsujimori, who refuses to leave without first reloading and trying again. What was that Einstein said about doing the same thing and expecting different results? Ah well, doesn't matter anyway. Much more relevant is the whole theory of relativity. You know, gravity. But her commanding officer was only able to get her out of the way in the nick of time. Now he's dead. Killed. Not by her refusal to listen to him, but by that damn giant monster bastard right over there! God fucking Zilla! Versus Megaguirus, another monster. Enough backstory, it's time to introduce more important characters, like Kajime Kudo, played by Shosuke Tanehara. He's amazing a small group of kids with his culinary magic, in the most literal sense. However...
That's weird. The bowl is really a microwave oven.
Huh?
It's a mixing of ingredients that I was far more impressed with. I didn't even notice it was cooked. It seems Tsujimori is familiar with this particular magic trick and the, fucking tiny chef robots the guy has inside the microwave bowl.
Oh, it's a trick, told ya.
Why, for fuck's sake, kid, I'm even more impressed the guy has a noodle nuker full of nanomachines. Especially when she points out his engineering skills are evidently self-taught. He's more interested in why she ruined his credibility with children, so she brings the guy over to the Defense Forces base and the G-Grasper HQ. No, they're not a coalition of proud money grubbers, but rather the military's anti-Godzilla specialists. This causes Kudo to make the observation that Godzilla is attracted to radiation leaks, and so no leaks, no Godzilla, so there's nothing to fear.
In theory, we have nothing to fear. However, that's only in theory. The one way to be certain would be to eliminate Godzilla once and for all.
Jesus Christ, you're like a neural network trained to solve any problem. How do we reduce workplace accidents? Kill all the employees! With that one goal in mind, the Anti-Godzilla Task Force is hard at work, and she introduces Kudo to the rest of the G-Graspers.
This is Hosono, our pilot.
Played by someone not on IMDb or Wikipedia. The credits? I hope he was one of those people.
This is Nakura, our information officer.
Damn. Hey, Nakamura, I do have some information I'd really like you to find for me real quick.
Our radio operator, Mr. Mima, he used to serve in the submarine corps.
Actually, it was a subway, but I've been too scared to correct them on that.
Here's Okumura. He was a captain in the Rangers, like me. And my name is Kiriko Tujimori.
Tujimori? That is closer than the Kujimori your superior officer was saying in the opening. And again, your name starts with TSU, which is notoriously difficult for Westerners to pronounce right. Yeah, tsunami isn't actually pronounced tsunami.
It's Yoshizawa.
Aha! Yoshino Yoshizawa, played by Yuriko Hoshi. Finally, someone who's listed online. All it took was a 60-year career in film. Yoshi here is a science type and former science teacher at Kudo's elementary school. She's taken her schoolyard expertise of dealing swift justice to bullies to deal justice to the biggest bully of them all, Godzilla, using a new weapon they have developed.
A miniaturized black hole.
Black hole?
Black hole, right. It'll swallow Godzilla and keep it prisoner. For eternity.
Also might swallow up the entire Earth, cause all the planetary orbits to go out of whack, but hey, big lizard problem. Not only that, the plan of attack is top-down, shooting the thing directly at the Earth.
According to preliminary figures, we must reduce it to 2 meters. Enough to launch it from a satellite.
You do realize black holes are dense, right? 2 meters is still really fucking big, and more than enough to destroy the entire planet. If you're just trying to kill Godzilla, you could tone it down a tad. Or alternatively, this could just be more neural network problem solving, and they never said that they couldn't destroy the planet along with them.
Attack Godzilla from space? Ha! What a great idea!
But we must be careful not to damage the planet.
Listen to yourself, this is like a plan to make Thanksgiving dinner by shooting it into the sun, but try not to overcook the turkey.
Right now, the black hole's too big, so we're counting on you.
And his expertise in designing tiny shit is exactly why they brought him on, to design the black hole gun that will also be way too big, but details. In the months that follow, Japanese TV gets slightly less weird, and summer vacation starts. Thus, our child character heads out to go see some friends. However, along the way, he discovers the self-defense forces have blocked the roads, and his path leads through a restricted area. However, it's just trained military soldiers. That's nothing a 9-year-old can't easily walk around, allowing him to see that they are testing the black hole cannon by firing it near some spare buildings instead of, in a lab or somewhere far, far away from the residential areas. Well, as long as nothing happens they weren't anticipating, I guess it's fine.
My god. What is that?
A wormhole. A space-time distortion.
Okay, so your black hole gun, despite all logic, created a black hole that was bright as hell, just created a wormhole? How? What was the other point it's linking to? A wormhole happens when 2 planes of space-time are warped and meet and create a bit of a tunnel effect, allowing for pretty much instantaneous travel between 2 very distant points. Faster than light travel, but it's cheating the system because you've warped space-time itself. But, black holes generally don't do that. It's a singularity. It happens in 1 point, hence the single part of the singularity. Even better, they pay the wormhole next to no mind at all. Gun works, continue as planned. What's far more pressing is that important child character was snooping around nearby, and thus, we have to take this opportunity to have a little chat about Sujimori's backstory and motivations.
Are you a G-Grasper?
Yes, I am.
But you're a woman. So how come you're fighting Godzilla?
Because he's a giant fucking monster that keeps destroying Japan. The important thing is that she reminds him this is top secret, and the key word there is secret, so don't tell anyone about what you saw today. Take your bugs and leave. However, that night he returns to the still not very secure restricted area to peer into the wormhole and wonder just what it means. Okay, so the big monster dragonfly, did that come out of the wormhole? So the kid's handy-dandy bug collection he had with him at the time of the Singular's... That just had nothing to do with anything, it just happened to have it at the time. Okay, great! Doesn't matter too much, the important thing is that the big bug left a big egg for the kid to make a big mistake and decide to bring it home with him. Just in time to pack it up and move it to the new place with his mom!
I think I'm gonna like Tokyo.
Ever since he brought home that strange monster egg, I don't know, I've just had this irresistible urge to drop everything and move to Tokyo. There seems to be a problem with the egg, though. It's leaking, so the kid bags it up and sends the little ball of death down into the city sewers. Maybe he figures the turtles will take care of it. Now, well, back at G Grasper HQ, our happy-go-lucky engineer is questioning the virtues of an exercise routine.
Why do you need to be fit when you're gonna make Godzilla disappear up his own butthole, huh?
Well, it's gonna be embarrassing if she tries to pick up her Nobel Prize and ends up throwing her back out. He's not annoying the hell out of her for no reason, though. You see, our engineering whiz just so happened to invent a munitions cartridge that has a microtransmitter installed in it! You know, just in case. He might have had enough time to throw that together because the black hole cannon has been made small enough to fit on a satellite. Nothing can stop them now. Except maybe that mysterious shit backing up the sewers all over Tokyo as we see one night through the eyes of a couple on a date.
Hey, Koji, do you want a drink?
Yeah,
A beer, okay?
that'll do.
I'll go to the store.
That'll be good.
Wait for me here.
Okay.
Here's your beer.
All right!
It's a Guinness
Awesome!
and a Slim Jim.
How nice! Unfortunately for Koji, he never actually gets that beer. And holy shit, we suddenly went from standard Godzilla to David Cronenberg's The Fly. Even sadder, she really does return with the beer, but can't find Koji. Only death! And the body count rises. Now that its belly is full of irresponsible teenager, the bug beast metamorphosizes into a massive dragonfly monster, which, coincidentally enough, important kid spots. Thus, he gets in contact with his friend at the G-Graspers and gives them some information.
This is a Meganulon. It grows into a Meganula. And last night, I saw one flying over the city.
Though I should preface this, at the time I was really fucking high. Proof of this claim comes fast enough, though, as the G-Graspers discover a heat signature suggesting Godzilla nearby, but also an alarmingly massive dragonfly. So they take the awesome future jet, the Fighter Griffin, out to investigate. Dropping a raft to get close, they do find the Meganula, though dead. So take some samples to test. But then...
We have a signal.
Godzilla?
Either that or there was a tragic accident involving a shipping barge full of wasabi. The massive marine monster is coming up on their position, so Tsujimori gets everyone else out of there, but she herself stays behind and is now holding onto the giant monster for dear life. And while the special effects are dated by today's standards, it's still pretty cool to see the size difference between the people and Godzilla, not from the close-up shots and the far shots, or having him superimposed outside of a window, but just straight up riding the motherfucker. But hey, she remembers they just so happen to have that handy-dandy tracking beacon bullet on hand! How convenient! With that, Godzilla is tagged, and they can send a submarine drone after Godzilla to keep track of it. Just in time as the Black Hole Gun satellite weapon Dimension Tide is ready to launch. They've also spent some time digging into the biology of that monster corpse they found, a very aggressive giant bug species from 350 million years ago. Thing is, while they've been piecing all this together, something else was going on off-screen.
We're right above the Shibuya district of Tokyo at the moment, and as you can see, the whole area is underwater.
Massive flooding, national emergency level disaster, kind of important.
Reports of
Major,
injuries
we
till
must
now,
check this
and
out.
first aid points are being set up at strategic locations.
Could this be any help?
Any influx of
Oh, damn it, Kudo, would you stop playing with the movie's miniatures?
Not just a mini SGS, but it also has an infrared camera, too.
Dude, you can't be surprised that she really isn't that impressed at your constant references to how small all your things are. So while the city is evacuated, the soldiers pilot the mini SGS down the mini-sunken city, discovering the massive eggs hidden underwater. That's all well and good, but the full-size SGS has also tracked down Godzilla. So forget the dangers the city is in for now. It's time to get Dimension Tide to kill Godzilla. They figure he's going to make landfall on a handy-dandy uninhabited island, but more important than any of that.
Another invention?
Just a new program I put together in my spare time. It checks operating systems 15 times faster than other programs.
And just threw together an operating system program fixer thingamajig, just for the hell of it. Also, was sure to put in the 3D animated Nurse Babe, because you can't really have an antivirus program unless it unnecessarily saps 90% of system resources. That absolutely random bout of software engineering out of the way, the quest to annihilate Godzilla continues. Thing is, he's taking his sweet-ass time actually making landfall, so the G-Graspers decide, fuck it, let's fire rockets at the monster until he's so pissed off, he chases us ashore. However, back in the flooded city, things are even worse than they seem.
Sergeant!
Woo! Better hope they brought Storm 1 along for this. Even better, the creatures are in the process of metamorphosis, meaning they go from giant insects to flying giant insects, nemesis of the winged divers. On the plus side, they ignore the pea shooters to fly out and combine the two scenes, making this far easier to narrate.
What? Dragonfly!
And this is surprisingly a lot more boring than you would think it would be. I mean, giant fucking monsters, swarms of other giant fucking monsters swooping around the military sci-fi VTOL with, like, no music and muted sound effects. Woohoo! Right on cue, Dimension Tide is ready to fire. But darn it, the dragonflies make it impossible for the satellite to lock onto the much larger and much slower moving target below. Where's an air raider with a laser guide kit when you need one? This means all the humans can do is watch as the Meganula swarm Godzilla and use their stingers to sap the monster's energy. Kaijus, part of a balanced breakfast. But yeah, you should always be careful not to go overboard on your energy drinks. And hey, Godzilla took care of that dragonfly problem long enough for the Dimension Tide cannon to lock on and fire a black hole down to Earth. So this is the second time this movie humanity has annihilated the planet for those keeping track. Narrative-wise, though, they only really fucked up this island in particular.
We missed it.
And I do mean that's all they did. They didn't even make a wormhole this time. Or ever again. Also, it just so happens shooting shrunken singularities takes a lot of energy, and Dimension Tide needs a fucking hour to cool enough for a second shot. Thus, Godzilla has plenty of time to just walk the fuck away. However, what about the Meganula that managed to get away with that energy they drained from the King of the Monsters? They have taken it to transfer it to one massive kaiju-sized beast. I wonder what it could be. Probably the guy in the poster. The transfer causes all of the surviving Meganula to, well, not survive any longer, but it still takes until nightfall before the final form of the big bad is ready for showtime. Ah, another flying kaiju that can hover like a hummingbird without actually flapping its wings. I'll just assume it's lighter than air like a zeppelin. That's for the best, though, as when it does flap its wings, it's so fast it causes piercing sound waves, and does the classic flying kaiju trick of blowing up entire city blocks merely by flying close to them. This attack is so devastating, Kudo barely survives.
It was the king of the Meganula.
Yes. It's called Megaguirus.
Okay, so you know what it's called. How in the hell did you even know it existed?
Some years ago, I believe, a fossil was found somewhere in eastern China.
Oh, alright. I mean, it's not in the actual fossil record, but kaiju film, you let these things slide. However, it does establish that you knew these things existed before now, caused by these things that you knew we had a problem with. Why didn't you bring it up sooner? I guess when you're dealing with swarms of 350-million-year-old bugs that have the potential to become kaiju, it's more fun to just wait and see the look on everyone's faces. Unfortunately, that fun is cut short when it's found that Godzilla is coming back, this time to a much more populated area. You wouldn't guess which city he's decided to attack.
Tell me, why is it heading for Tokyo?
Because it's a Godzilla movie. I mean, we know that they do have their own little things in the background and secrets and this and that and revelations and coming out, oh my god, this is why, but we already know it's because it's Tokyo, and he's Godzilla. With the final act coming up, Godzilla makes landfall, and the G-Graspers get into position to throw firecrackers in his face, pissing him off. However, Megaguirus swoops in, complicating things with the dimension-tied cannon. The defense forces figure they could swallow up both monsters in one shot, which is right, but remember, that'll be Planetary Annihilation number 3 for this movie. Either way, the monsters fight! Which is not really as exciting as you might think. It's the classic issue with a bipedal kaiju doing battle with a flying kaiju. They really can't get too physical with each other, so more often than not it becomes a battle of special effects. However, Megaguirus really doesn't do a lot of lightning burps or fire farts, making the fight come off more like... special effects versus slap fighting. But even with the monsters together, the humans can't seem to get Dimension Time working again. Funny thing, the operating system has mysteriously fucked up.
There's no backup file. What's going on here?
Dear God, what do we do? Oh, if only someone threw together a ridiculously powerful antivirus program that could solve this very problem in the nick of time!
Let me try.
Hey, you can't go in there.
Kudo!
I am here to save the day! But first, on my way here, I also invented these chopsticks that adjust their shape and texture based on the food that you're eating. Not only is his little nurse antivirus equipped for the job, but it also decks out in G-Grasper gear just in case this specific issue came up. On the satellite he was instrumental in building. I'm beginning to wonder if he sabotaged it his damn self. Now, well, Megaguirus sapped energy out of Godzilla in order to launch balls of death at him, but that can't stop the king! And he kills Megaguirus! That'll show him, taking over an hour to actually show up and then being killed 15 minutes later. Anyway, what the hell was Godzilla after in Tokyo?
It wants plasma energy.
Plasma? But they dropped the plan, didn't they? In case it attracted Godzilla back again?
When? I saw the intro. You dropped nuclear power and all dirty fossil fuels and went full green and got plasma power specifically because Godzilla wasn't attracted to plasma. He was attracted to nuclear. So nuclear bad, go plasma. Yay plasma. Future's plasma. Now plasma is what he's attracted to. Why the fuck did you make such a great big deal of him not being attracted to plasma if he's attracted to plasma? So this is the dark secret of Japan, where plasma energy was to become a massive revenue stream up until Godzilla showed up. Oh well, maybe someone can make sense of it. I'm more interested in the dimension tide at this point. So that makes the third time mankind has annihilated Earth in this movie. I'm really having a hard time seeing Godzilla as the threat here. Much like everyone else, because it would seem that Dimension Tide worked. The black hole subsides, and Godzilla is nowhere to be found. Therefore, happy ending! Godzilla is gone, and Japan can enjoy a prosperous future. Or can they?
What if Godzilla had somehow managed to escape from the black hole we sent him into?
Well, that would make your efforts throughout the whole movie one big fucking waste of time now, wouldn't it? But what's this? A wild post-credit scene appears! And he's fine, and back, and here for your nuclear, your plasma, your monster energy drinks. Anyway, that was Godzilla vs. Megaguirus. And it's surprisingly boring. I'm really taken aback by just how much this movie just didn't impress me. On paper, it sounds like a surefire action ride from start to finish. From monster swarms, to kaiju battles, to sci-fi VTOL fighter ships, to motherfucking black hole guns. But things are just really stiff. It's hard to get invested because there's not much in it that builds on itself. Like Kudo's inventions, they exist to be luckily on hand when they're needed. There's next to no build-up to him making anything, it's just explained he makes stuff and voila! They just so happen to be incredibly useful in key situations. The characters' relationships with each other also are established, but they don't really go anywhere. You don't need character arcs to be too involved in this kind of a movie, but that's because this kind of a movie tends to rely more on spectacle, and that was in surprisingly short supply. Even for their time, the effects look pretty dated, and very frustratingly, the monsters look very stiff. There are exceptions, with a few nice bouts of the big Godzilla fight, and the insectoid slasher villain scene, but what should have been an incredible show of opposing forces ended up feeling like it was just going through the motions. Overall, Godzilla vs. Megaguirus isn't a terrible film. It establishes the monsters, gives us something at stake, and lets everything come together at the end, but the characters stop being interesting about 40 minutes in, and the battle on display has a very hard time managing to hold the movie on its own. Coming in at 2 convenient wormholes the plot cannot exist without that are never brought up again, out of 5. But while the humans' actions failed to destroy Godzilla, and in fact created the very monster that destroyed many of their cities, and Godzilla really wasn't the problem, all things considered, hey, look on the bright side, lots of work for contractors. Thank you all for watching, I've been Decker Shado, and remember, credit your actors! It makes my job a hell of a lot easier.
You're gonna make Godzilla disappear up his own butthole.